Welcome back, friends. I'm so thrilled that you can join us on this live on how to heal from trauma. I'm Jenny Gaston, licensed professional counselor of about 15 years. And today I'm doing something a little different. I'm not showing my face because I believe the words that I have to say are more important. And listen, I'm going to get to it, right to it. So number one, what is the first key element of healing from trauma? You must know your family history. I know often many of us are stuck in the past, and then you have others who refuse to even look at the past. They're so focused on, I just want to head towards the future, but it's important to glance at the past to see the patterns in order to know how to heal. Just like when you go to your doctor's appointment, your yearly annual physical, what is a question that is often asked? What is your family history? Do you have anyone who struggled with cancer, who has faced diabetes, and the list goes on? Okay, we must do the same with mental health and trauma. And so, a great way to do this is to create a genogram. For those who don't know, a genogram is like creating a family tree, but in a genogram, you include symbols, and these symbols represent different events that impacted your generational history and trauma. And so I will link in a description a an example of a genogram key. And this is something that can take months to do, but it's life changing because it gives you a bird's eye view of your family for the past, I would say, three generations. If you want to do that, I would recommend three generations. And this is also an opportunity to interview your grandparents and great grandparents if they're still alive. Take advantage of this, okay? Because time is a resource. We push things off and say, yeah, I'll ask those questions later. And then something happens and you don't have the opportunity, and that can be very challenging. And some symbols, I'm going to give you examples, are rape or sexual abuse, separation, divorce, struggles with alcohol, drug addiction. Okay, the list goes on. And there are symbols for abuse like violence, hostility, sexual abuse, even controlling and narcissistic behaviors. All that needs to be put in. We also have positive symptoms because it's not always all negative, right? There are some examples of stable relationships, love, unity, spirituality, sexuality. All right. All those are included in the genogram. Number two, the second way to heal from trauma is to be in community. Okay. And listen, we all have our friends, right? When you go to the party or when you're hosting a party, rather, you have some people who stay in the outskirts, right? Others who are comfortable coming to the kitchen because they have a close relationship with you, but there are only a few that can go to your bedroom and grab something. Okay, one or two. And this is how our lives are. You may have thousands and hundreds of friends on Facebook and Instagram, but we're not talking about friends in that broad sense of community. I'm talking about close knit friends, a support group. And my mentor, I remember as an undergrad college student, she was in her 60s, and she told me that if you have one or two lifelong friends, you are blessed. And she said that's all you need. You don't need a whole lot. Okay. You don't need a whole lot. um, yeah, lifelong friends, because some friends are in our lives for a season, and it can be frustrated when we don't understand that and we're not willing to let people go. It can be a grieving process, but it's important for you not to isolate yourself. So find a support group, find a community, and you don't have to have it's you can have various communities. I have a gym community, I have a spiritual community, I have a parent community because I'm a parent, right? And so it's important to develop different communities. That is key because we cannot heal in isolation. Number three, physical activity, right? Because mind, body, and spirit. So let's talk about the body, the importance of movement. Studies have shown that when we engage in movement, 30 minutes of movement 3 times a week, that our body creates happy hormones. These are endorphins, and these endorphins decrease anxiety, decrease depression, and these are symptoms that are related to trauma. Okay, because anxiety often develops when we're afraid of the future because of what happened in the past. So we're future forecasting, we're having catastrophic thoughts, or depression, we're stuck in the past, right? And we really can't let go of what has been done to us. And sometimes we can't forgive ourselves. And so engage in movement to release rather that stress that is trapped in your body. Okay, because the body does keep a score, and there's a book about that. And so it's important to engage in movement to release that. Children know what they do. And if you watch children, they're all constantly moving, always moving. If I only had an ounce of that energy, right, of a child, what I would be able to do. And so we can learn from them, engage in movement, walk in nature, allow that vitamin D from the sun to hit your skin. That's going to help you to heal and regulate your nervous system and ground you. Now, where we at? Number four, let's talk about food. Food is medicine. And I'm talking about food that comes from the earth. I'm not talking about processed food and processed sugar. And don't get me wrong, every now and then I have my treat, but it's important for us to consume food that comes from the earth to heal our gut because your gut is your second brain. Your gut is your second brain. And so when you allow yourself to consume those things that are good for you, that reduces inflammation, then you are optimizing your healing process. We focus on the mental, we forget the body. We forget what we put in our mouths. That is all part of the process. So we're talking about a holistic way to heal. And I have my tea here, ginger and turmeric tea. I love to drink 2 cups of this every morning before I consume anything besides water. And this is something you can get from Aldi's or Trader Joe's, okay? And so that is number four. Number five, herbs. Herbs, again, going from the earth, right? What God has given us. Some of you guys will say Mother Nature. Listen, I know we all have different beliefs here. And so one herb that is really powerful is called St. John's wort. It's a yellow flower that comes from England. And this herb helps to create a positive mood. It reduces anxiety, depression, and mood swings. And so I would recommend to check it out as part of your healing journey. Of course, always check with your doctor first, especially if you're taking medication. You want to make sure that this herb does not interfere and do your own research, right? Everything has some form of side effects, but of course, the side effects are not going to be as great as pharmaceutical drugs. And I'm not against pharmaceutical drugs. I'm a licensed professional counselor. Some of us can really benefit from them. But at the same time, it's important to do your research, to journal. Yes, so you can say, okay, day one compared to day 15, compared to day 30, how I'm doing. So you can track your progress because what may work for me in my body may not work for you and the next person. So where we at? Number six. Before we get up to number six, if you haven't already done so, do me a favor, hit subscribe and like. So that will help the algorithm. So YouTube know that this is valuable information and will push it out to more people. Number six seems so simple. Breathe. Breathe though from the belly, not from the chest. It's a difference. It's a difference, y'all. A lot of times we are rushing in this fast-paced society and we're breathing like shallow breaths. Sometimes we're holding our breath. Some of you, why do I have chest pains? You might be at a job where you have to move so quickly and you're wondering what's going on. I remember when before I started counseling, I was working as a social worker in my 20s and I was having chest pains. And I was just like, what is going on? And then I realized, unbeknownst to me, I was holding my breath at times. I was holding my breath, okay, in moments of stress. And so just spend maybe during your lunch break, breathing deeply, and you can count inhale, hold for 3 seconds, and release also through your nose, nostril breathing. Inhale through your nose, hold for 3 seconds, and release also through your nose. Nostril breathing is key because it slows down your breath. There's no huffing and puffing from the mouth. It also protects us from disease, especially during this cold and flu season, as our nose is designed with hairs and mucus to protect us, right? So when you're opening your mouth and predominantly breathing through your mouth, you're not setting up your nervous system for the best. All right, let's continue. Number 8. Oh no, 7. Let me not skip any. Set healthy boundaries. Set healthy boundaries. Think about boundaries as setting a fence around your home. You might have a pet. Of course, that's to keep that pet in the parameters, right? But it's also meant to keep intruders away. And so many times when we think of boundaries, we think, well, it's for other people. We have our hands out at arm's length. Don't get close to me. Don't bother me. Okay, that's great. But some of these boundaries are for you, boo. Yes, I'm talking to you for those in the back. Yes, because we be doing the most, trying to save everyone, having, I don't know, a superhero complex. All right, and there's nothing wrong with helping others in need. I am an advocate for that. But when you're hanging on a thread and you're going above and beyond for others and not for yourself, that is codependency and people pleasing on steroids. Okay. And so set healthy boundaries by making sure that you not only take care of yourself, but that you don't overly expose yourself to people and places that trigger your trauma. Okay, if it's a family member, a friend that caused the trauma, yes, it's important to forgive them, and you may have to forgive them every day. Okay, but you don't have to be their bestie. It could be someone you hit up on their birthdays and holidays, and that is it. You don't have to necessarily cut them off, but you don't have to be besties. And some people you may have to cut off completely, right? And forgiveness is actually not just a spiritual thing, but research has shown, especially in the and I need to get the quote of the study, but research has shown not just in cancer, but in chronic diseases, when patients are able to forgive, it makes a difference in their health and well-being. While we hold unforgiveness, not knowing that exasperates our trauma, it exasperates our body, it weakens our immune system because we're holding on to that toxic energy. Let's get to the next one. Number 8, get therapy or coaching. Listen, of course, I'm going to say that. I'm a therapist, but guess what? As a therapist, I have a therapist. And for some of you, it may be coaching, it may be mentoring, but make sure you get that accountability, someone to challenge you and encourage you. Yes, because there's so many people in our lives that will do the opposite. They would just say, "Yeah, stay the way you are, you fine," because they're in the same situation, right? And so you want to get advice from someone who's further along in the journey, right? So if I am someone who's interested in buying a house, I'm not going to talk to my girlfriend who's also interested and haven't started the process as well. I'm going to talk to someone who may have bought 5 houses, and so they have experienced some pitfalls that I may not have to go through, okay? And so seek support. 9, tap into spirituality. Yes, we are mind, body, and spirit. And so, yes, mental health is important, but it can only go so far. And for me, as a Christian, that is reading scripture, Bible study, praying, listening to worship music. If you're not a Christian, don't tune out here, okay? Like I said, I know that people have different beliefs, but we are mind, body, and spirit. And so, if you're seeking mental health and I give you tools, but you're not getting enough sleep, you're neglecting your body, you're not drinking water, you're not eating right, I have to address that, right? Just like I'm addressing spiritual things. Now let's go to number 10. The last point is key, but it's so simple, y'all, that you might miss it. So I had to save the best for last. Be patient. Be patient with your journey. Too often we're impatient. We want to be at the mountaintop like now. This healing journey can be messy. Sometimes you're taking 6 steps forwards, 4 steps back, and you're just like tired of it. You're tired. You're tired of constantly feeling defeated to the point where you may not see the baby steps that you're making. But consider a baby. Like before a baby is running, right? A baby is doing army crawls, then crawling successfully, then doing squats. And even while they're walking, they're falling constantly. And so that's the journey for us. It's going to be difficult, but be patient with yourself and celebrate those small wins instead of looking at the end goal. This is a process, it is a marathon. Okay. And so I hope that this live was very helpful for you. If you made it to the end, you can comment by saying hashtag mental health podcast, or you can even comment on one thing that you're going to take away. We're a community. And if you have questions and say, hey, Jenny, I would love for you to talk about X, Y, and Z on the next episode, you can put that on there too. Okay. And in the description, I will have my information. If you want to email me, reach out to me for any further questions that you don't want to put out publicly, that is fine. I'm here to support you. We are a community. So thank you so much for making it to the end. Subscribe, like, and share, and enjoy your week. Oh, lastly, make sure to hit that notification bell, okay? Because the next live is going to be on seasonal depression. It's real. It's real, especially because it's dark, it's cold. That affects our mental. And so we're going to talk about it. Much love.